public engagement and public engagement with research, and public engagement and how it fits in with social innovation. So today we'll chat about what is public engagement in the UK and what is public engagement with research. How did public engagement with research evolve in the UK? What are the benefits? How are we encouraging public engagement in UK universities through culture change? And public engagement as a route to social innovation. So to start with, what is public engagement? So public engagement describes many activities that the university, its researchers and its students engage with anybody outside of the university, be they public, communities, policymakers, business makers, entrepreneurs, social innovators. And engagement, by its very definition, is a two-way process. So there should be interaction between the university, its researchers and students, and its target audiences, and there should be mutual benefit for both sides. So if we explore that a bit more, and what an engaged university looks like in the UK, we've got public engagement with research, and that's a special part of public engagement in which researchers actively involve the public in their research. We've got engaged teaching, so that's where the students are, through their teaching practices, are involved in community engagement activities. And then in the UK we talk about knowledge exchange, and by that we're talking about researchers and our students engaging with policymakers, businesses, industries, those with a professional interest in engaging with the university. And then we've also got, of course, last but not least, social innovation and social responsibility. So what the university, its researchers and its students can do to benefit the community, society and society as a whole. Today I'm going to talk to you particularly about public engagement with research. So I'm going to be focusing on how we encourage our researchers to engage in public engagement and social innovation. Now, social innovation as part of the student learning experience is a very big thing at Oxford. But I thought today I could chat to you about how we're also trying to influence our researchers, our academics, our DPhil students to engage in social innovation and public engagement. And that also helps as well when it comes to, because obviously it's our academics and researchers that are teaching our students to help influence their teaching practices for public engagement and social innovation. And just to start off with, I just think public engagement and public engagement with research and social innovation are so interconnected. And there's many instances in which people are doing public engagement with research, but fundamentally it's a social innovation project. And again, so the aim to have social innovation can come by engaging the public in research, because of course research in many ways leads to lots and lots of different ways to innovate. I thought it'd be useful to tell you about how public engagement evolved in the UK. So if I can take you back to 1985, and at the time the Royal Society, which is the UK National Academy for Science based in London, and they produced a report saying that there was a crisis in public trust of science, which worried them greatly, because if the public didn't trust science, they wouldn't fund science. So they produced a report, and it called for a lot more science communication activities so that the public could better understand science and therefore would trust it more. It was a very one-way communication, though, where the scientists were seen as the experts and the public were told what to think. It then, in around 2000, the House of Lords in the UK produced a report that actually pushed against this idea of public understanding of science and called for science and society to be a lot more interconnected and joined up together and to have much more dialogue and debate. So lots of things had happened in the UK, such as genetic modification. There was a big public backlash because people wanted to have a say in how science and technology was applied to society. Those decisions shouldn't be left to scientists themselves. Science has moral, religious, ethical, societal implications, and we should all be part of how those applications enter our society, how research and innovation become part of our society. And so we moved into this science and society era. that called for scientists to be in proper debate with the public and for the public to have a proper voice in the future direction of science. So as opposed to the previous science communication model, this was very two-way engagement where everybody has a say. And then we move on to 2008, and this is pretty much when public engagement and public engagement with research became very popular in the UK. And so it was the realisation that, of course, it shouldn't just be scientists that are engaged in the public. We should have all of our researchers and academics and students engaging with the public, with community, irrespective of their discipline. So across the humanities, social sciences, business, management, science, technology and medicine. And the engagement can take place across the whole cycle of research. So from the very start to actually think about what the research questions should be, as well as at the end to how this research should be applied in society. So we moved from the public understanding of science to science and society to public engagement with research across all disciplines, and this two-way engagement with universities, the students and the researchers. And just a pause for thought, and I'd be interested to hear from you, is there any similarities with what's happened in Korea in terms of this evolution? Or is the route to social innovation, have you had different drivers? So when we talk about public engagement with research, so at Oxford I'm the head of public engagement with research, but the last thing I do is engage the public. So my role there is to work with our researchers, our academics, our research students and our students to encourage them to engage the public. So I'm helping to change culture in the university in order so that public engagement and public engagement with research can flourish. Because there was lots and lots of activities going on before 2008, but it was all quite ad hoc, and there wasn't this institutional commitment to engaging with the public. Universities were still focused on research and teaching, and engagement wasn't seen as a strategic part of what a university does. So the drivers of this big public engagement culture change at universities, there's been a number of drivers, and a lot of these were happening at the same time. And again, I'd be really interested to find out if it's been the same for Korea. So first and foremost, there's been the key UK research funders were incredibly important and influential in pushing forward the fact that universities need to engage with wider society and think about public engagement and social innovation. So this is United Kingdom Research and Innovation, so that's the equivalent of Korea's National Research Foundation, and also the Wellcome Trust, where we're very, very strong in the fact that they're giving us lots of money to fund research. They want to see public engagement and social innovation happening. The government were very influential. Policymakers, think tanks, national non-governmental organisations and not-for-profit groups. The public and communities themselves started to really call out for universities to be a lot more open and transparent and to think about community and society need. So in the UK there's been this huge kind of not backlash, but a demand for openness across many sectors, across banking, across finance, with our politicians, with our government, with the British Broadcasting Corporation, with the BBC, and with higher education. So across all sectors, the public are asking for a lot more openness and transparency. There's also the need for, and this has been grown in the UK, for research to have impact. And by that we mean for the research to make a difference outside of academia. Yes, we want to publish papers in great journals and publish books and go to conferences and get grants. But what's the point unless this research can somehow make a difference outside of academia? And last but not least, as more and more public engagement and social innovation happened, the more and more we had the evidence and demonstrable benefits of what this can bring to universities, researchers, societies, the public and students. So this just captures some of the benefits of public engagement. So for universities, there's openness and transparency. You raise your profile, can help attract a much more diverse and greater number of students. Social responsibility and accountability, of course, because universities, the core funding comes from the public taxpayer, and the public have a right to know what's going on in universities. Researchers themselves get new research perspectives. They can make a real difference outside academia, which can be incredibly rewarding. And they can set up new collaborations and partnerships. And for the public and community, we get research and innovation that addresses society need. The public that get engaged in these engagement activities, the vast majority feel great, huge enjoyment and inspiration. And also, when they're asked to take part in helping to shape research direction or having a say, they feel a great sense of empowerment. So it's very much about sharing the power that universities, researchers and students have.